This is one of those few movies where I did not read the book first, and I still not have read the book. I think I watched this movie about 5 years ago. Yeah, I did not remember too much about it. There's a lot of details and a lot of stuff I didn't remember about it. I just remembered he was a kid with a bad face. I don't want to say that. That sounds fucking wrong. I'm terrible at wording stuff sometimes. With a facial deformity, I think is definitely better. I think they use that in that movie too. Um, yeah, he has a facial deformity because he was born like that. It honestly doesn't look that bad. Like, I can see why some little dirtbag kids would judge him because they're kids and don't know any better, but I honestly don't see why adults or high schoolers would bother him unless they were just asshole high schoolers. I think most kids would probably maybe glance at him. But this movie is about a fifth grader, so a lot of jerky kids. Um, so yeah, the movie starts off with him in a helmet, just I guess trying to make it so you don't know what his face looks like just yet. But I'm positive they probably would have had to show it in the trailers, so it only works if you're someone that saw it on a movie theater board and like, hey, I want to watch that. Or a friend, brings the movie over and you've never even heard of it and you watch it together. Something like that. Very odd situation, because it's not on very long. They also do like this part where they'll um, introduce characters, give them more background so you can know why they do what they do, why they feel what they feel. So we get a perspective on his sister, on their friend Miranda, and stuff like that. The dog's on the cover. The dog dies, and it's feels like a big deal when it happens, but it's never really mentioned again. I don't expect them to always mention stuff like that, but it was like, yeah, he's getting in an argument with his mom and his sister because he doesn't fully understand what's going on, so he just assumes that she's embarrassed of him and doesn't want to take him to the school play. And then they, she comes in there and she's crying, and he realizes that there's something else wrong, and they come home without the dog, and we see Owen Wilson's character crying, and then that's really it. I don't expect him to have, a big thing because it's a dog and it's not about the dog, it's about Augie. But at least, seeing them maybe bury it, or I don't, maybe just seeing them sitting on the couch watching TV and then we see its ashes in a jar or something. Not just, oh, it's dead. No one's crying. We're done. That's it. Move on. Um, The kid from Walk the Prank is in here, which is a show that I have not rewatched yet for reviews that I watched when I was a kid. He plays one of the bully characters. And speaking of the bully characters, they just become friends with Augie for like no reason, and they trying to, I guess, make you think that they're gonna hurt Augie or whatever. Um, because Augie and Jack have to go to the bathroom, they start leaving. Two bully characters look at them leave and start following them. And then we find, and then when someone finds Augie and Jack, it's not the same people. It's these like big taller kids that they call seventh graders in this movie. And then the bully kids fight the seventh graders to help Augie. I guess they had a change of heart because of like one thing earlier in the movie where the teacher's like, Amos, who wrote on this paper? Because there's a rude paper in Augie's locker, and he's just kind of awkward, but he clearly told the teacher. So I guess he finally became a better person, kind of randomly, even though it's a kid, so I can kind of see why. Because kids are easier to convince and help and make them better people than it is to do a fully grown adult. They can make mistakes. But it's still kind of weird, like, he writes something super awful. And we never, like, see him, try and stop him because we never even saw him put the thing in the locker. We just see the teacher kind of be like, hey, tell me who wrote this, and he's kind of awkward about it and tells them, and that's it. He didn't have too many lines, and I didn't even know his name till like later, where they say his name like 4 times. It's honestly a pretty heartwarming movie, but it definitely gets corny near the end, where they have to shove the name Wonder into the movie for whatever reason, and Augie acts nice, and his mom's like, you really are a wonder, Augie. Okay. That was corny. It's like those memes you see on TikTok about people, just saying stuff like, wow, this was really a Last of Us Part 2. Acting like that's what happened in the movie, or game, but didn't. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. And even though I only watched it like once or twice before now, this is probably my 3rd time. This was always one of my favorite movies. I really like it. This, Max, the Amazing Spider-Man movies. There's just some like really good movies that I like. And yeah, that's about it. Also, I do want to mention real quick, Wizards of Waverly Place Season 2 review is not coming out anytime soon because I am not at my house. I'm having a little trip for a few weeks, maybe a few months. And I don't have any streaming, I just have my PlayStation. But I do have some stuff. I still have Tubi TV and Pluto TV and CW because that stuff was downloaded on my phone. HBO, Disney, and Peacock were all on my TV. I don't feel like downloading them and logging in because I don't really like watching stuff on my phone very often. But I do it occasionally with Tubi and the CW. So Superman and Lois Season 3 will get a review because it's on my phone. Though I'm pretty sure it'll be done by the time this trip is over. By the way, it's coming out. But yeah, that's about it. Wonder was a really good movie. Really good cast. Really good story. They portrayed everything pretty well. No, actually, I don't know if I mentioned this yet. When I watched this movie, I had no idea who Ghostface was. So it was cool seeing Ghostface in this movie. For context, Ghostface is a character from a horror movie, and he didn't want to wear the costume, but Daisy threw up on his original Boba Fett costume, and he already told Jack who he was going as, which actually causes a problem. Jack says something rude, very rude, absolutely disgusting. He actually shows he does care about Augie though later, and they become friends again. But yeah, he wears a Ghostface costume instead of the Boba Fett costume, which, makes Jack say something rude because he doesn't see a Boba Fett costume. So he doesn't think Augie's around. But seeing Ghostface in this movie was pretty cool because it was not something I expected. Because I didn't even know who Ghostface was. I just assumed it was, just a random costume. Probably didn't even really listen to that line because I didn't really do movie reviews or pay attention to all the lines like I mostly do now. But yeah, that is about it. Yes, I have a lot of Star Wars references too. I wanted to mention that.